All right, get ready. Today we're going deep on how to prep for a flight operations officer interview.
Ooh, yeah, those interviews can be intense.
They are. You're going for a job that's like the brain behind an airline running smoothly.
Not an easy gig.
Nope. But thankfully, we've got RoleCatcher. It's packed with career guides, sample interview questions, even some AI magic to help you stand out.
I love that they have the AI stuff built right in.
Me too.
Yeah.
Super useful. So before we jump into the questions,
Okay.
let's talk about what makes this role so special.
Well, it's not just about liking planes. It's way more than that. You have to really get the whole web of things.
The web.
Yeah, all those details.
Yeah.
Logistics, regulations, safety stuff. It all has to work perfectly to keep planes moving safely and on time.
It's a huge responsibility.
Huge.
And that's where RoleCatcher's career guide is such a good tool. It breaks down the career path. Like what you'd actually do.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so it starts with flight operations assistant, then you move up to coordinator, and then finally you become a full-fledged officer.
So you can show the interviewers you're in it for the long haul.
Exactly. You get it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get to the interview questions.
All right, let's do it.
They're designed to see if you can think on your feet and handle the pressure.
Makes sense.
One of the first ones they'll probably ask is, what motivated you to pursue a career as a flight operations officer?
Seems straightforward enough.
It is, but don't give a boring, generic answer.
Oh, good point.
Think about something specific that got you hooked on aviation. Maybe it was seeing a plane make a crazy landing when you were a kid.
Oh, I like that.
Or realizing how important flight operations are for, global trade and connecting people.
Yeah, those are good.
The key is to tie your own story to the bigger picture. And be ready for follow-up questions like, what specifically about being a flight operations officer appeals to you? That's your chance to show you've really done your homework. Pull out some insights from that RoleCatcher Career Guide.
Yeah.
Talk about the challenges and all that.
Show them you're not just in it for the glamour.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mention things like having to solve really tough problems, thinking critically all the time, and constantly monitoring everything.
Gotta be on top of it.
You got it. Okay, let's move on to a question that's super important. How do you ensure compliance with all aviation regulations and standards?
The rule book.
Yeah, but it's not just about knowing the rules.
Right.
It's about being proactive.
Proactive.
Yeah, showing that you're always up to date and doing everything by the book.
I see.
So they want to see that you're super detail-oriented. And actually, the RoleCatcher Career Guide mentions some specific certifications, like the FAA Aircraft Dispatcher License.
Makes sense.
It's proof that you know your stuff when it comes to flight planning regulations and safety.
It's like your street cred.
Totally. So when you answer this question, don't just say, I follow the rule.
Right.
Talk about how you stay updated on any changes from the FAA. Mention going to conferences, keeping detailed logs of all the regulations, things like that.
Shows you're serious.
Exactly. You're on top of your game. And they might throw in a follow-up question like, can you give me an example of a time you had to deal with a complicated regulation?
Ooh, a challenge.
Yeah. This is where you can really shine by telling a short, powerful story that shows your knowledge and your problem-solving skills.
Using a story is such a good idea. It makes it stick.
For sure. It brings your experience to life.
Okay.
Okay, ready for question number 3? This one's all about logistics.
Hit me.
How do you manage flight schedules and ensure on-time departures?
That's a lot of juggling.
Oh, yeah. This is where you show off how organized you are and how you can handle the constant changes in flight operations.
Right.
And remember, the career guide breaks down typical responsibilities for each of those career stages we talked about.
Yeah.
So if you're going for a more senior role, you can use that info to your advantage.
Good strategy.
Yeah, talk about your experience managing multiple aircraft at once, coordinating crew schedules, considering the weather, all that.
Shows you've got the experience.
And don't forget to mention how you stay ahead of potential delays.
I'm proactive.
Exactly. Show them you're not just reacting to problems, you're preventing them. They'll probably ask you something like, tell me about a time you had to deal with a major flight delay. How did you handle it?
Oh, they love those real-life examples.
You do? This is where you show off your skills under pressure, talk about how you communicate, how you think on your feet, how you keep things running smoothly for everyone, passengers and crew.
Stay calm under pressure.
You got it. Right, now for a big one.
Okay, I'm ready.
This is question number 4. How do you ensure the safety and security of all flight operations?
At the heart of the job.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not enough to just say, safety is my top priority.
Right.
You need to prove you understand the safety protocols inside and out, and that you're always thinking about how to manage risk. Luckily, the RoleCatcher Career Guide has a ton of useful info on this.
Yeah, that's good.
It talks about understanding aviation regulations and procedures, weather patterns, how aircraft perform, fuel planning.
It's a lot to keep track of.
It is. So you can use all that in your answer. Say something like, I make sure we follow all the rules, I do thorough risk assessments, and I'm in constant communication with the flight crews to watch out for any potential safety issues.
That's a good start.
It is. But to really impress them, bring up some specific safety advancements from the guide.
Ooh, like what?
Like, you could talk about performance-based navigation or using controller-pilot data link communications for better safety.
Show them, the latest stuff.
Exactly. It proves you're serious about staying ahead of the curve.
Right.
And be ready for a follow-up, like, can you describe a time you spotted a potential safety hazard and what you did about it?
Another chance to tell a story.
You got it. Think of a time when you noticed something risky, maybe a procedure that was outdated or a possible weather issue. Then explain what you did, step by step, to assess the risk, fix it, and prevent an incident.
Being proactive again.
Totally. And remember, it's not just about fixing the problem.
Right.
It's about showing you can anticipate and stop those risks before they become a bigger problem. Okay, shifting gears a bit to question number 5. This one's about communication.
Okay.
It's how do you manage communication with flight crew and ground operations?
Keeping everyone in the loop.
Right. And this is where your soft skills come in. It's not just talking. It's about communicating clearly and quickly in a high-pressure environment.
I see.
The RoleCatcher Career Guide actually lists speaking, active listening, and coordination as essential skills for this job.
It's all connected.
It is. Use those keywords when you answer.
Yeah.
Talk about how you set up clear communication protocols, use different channels to make sure messages get through, and make active listening a priority.
Good advice.
It's also a good opportunity to show that you can build a collaborative communication environment. You want to just be barking orders.
Yeah, nobody likes that.
You want to create a space where everyone feels comfortable sharing info and raising concerns.
A team effort.
Exactly. Be prepared for them to ask, can you describe a situation where there was a communication breakdown and how you fixed it?
Oh, those breakdowns happen.
They do, and it's important to show that you can handle them and learn from them. But before we get to more questions, let's take a minute to talk about RoleCatcher's AI features. Remember those?
Oh yeah, the AI magic.
They're not just a gimmick. RoleCatcher's AI tools can look at job descriptions and tell you exactly what skills and keywords employers are searching for.
Wow, that's really helpful.
It's like having a personal resume and interview coach all rolled into one.
No kidding.
You can use that info to make your answers even better and tailor them to each specific job you're applying for.
That's smart.
It is. All right, back to the questions. Let's tackle number 6. How do you manage flight crew training and development?
So this is about more than just yourself.
It is. This one's all about leadership and being a good mentor.
Okay.
Interviewers want to know that you're not just focused on your own tasks, you're also helping your team grow and develop their skills.
Makes sense.
And guess what? The career guide comes in handy again here.
Really?
Yeah, it says flight operations officers are often responsible for figuring out what training people need, putting together training plans, and checking to see if those plans are actually working.
So you use that info to shape your answer.
Exactly. Talk about your ability to create custom training plans, use different teaching methods like simulations and on-the-job training, and then how you track if the training is effective.
Sounds thorough.
It is. You're showing them you're building a culture of learning, not just going through the motions.
I like that.
And be ready for them to ask, can you give an example of a successful training program you put in place and how it affected flight operations?
They like specifics.
They do. Talk about a specific training project you led. Maybe you revamped a safety training program or came up with a new way to do weather briefings. Focus on the results and how your program made flight crews better, safer, or more efficient.
Show them you made a difference.
Exactly. Okay, let's move on to a question that's all about balance.
Balance.
Yeah, this one tests your ability to handle different priorities. Already, it's how do you ensure that flight operations are cost-effective while maintaining high levels of safety and efficiency?
That's a tough one.
It is. You have to find that sweet spot between saving money and never compromising safety.
Right. You can't cut corners on safety.
Absolutely not.
Mhm.
And the RoleCatcher guide talks about this, emphasizing the importance of optimizing flight operations.
It's optimizing.
Yeah, like analyzing fuel use, finding the most efficient flight routes, and making sure aircraft are used to their full potential.
Smart moves.
You can use those points in your answer. Highlight your ability to analyze data, make smart choices, and find ways to save money without sacrificing safety or how well things run.
Okay.
For example, you could talk about working with a maintenance team to schedule routine checks during slow periods so you don't disrupt flights.
Good thinking.
It shows you're thinking ahead and finding creative solutions.
Uh-huh.
They might follow up with, can you tell me about a time you successfully saved money in flight operations?
They want to hear a story.
They do. Share a specific example that shows you're proactive, good problem solver, and that you can help the company's bottom line without compromising safety or efficiency. Now, let's talk about a topic that's becoming super important in aviation: sustainability. Question number 8 is, how do you ensure that flight operations are environmentally sustainable?
Sustainability is huge these days.
It is. This isn't about checking boxes. It's about showing that you understand how aviation affects the environment and that you're committed to minimizing that impact.
Makes sense.
And you guessed it. The RoleCatcher Guide acknowledges this growing focus on sustainability.
Good to know.
It emphasizes that flight operations officers need to know about environmental regulations and best practices.
I see.
So use that when you answer. Talk about staying informed about the latest environmental rules, using fuel-efficient procedures, exploring sustainable aviation fuels, and minimizing waste and emissions.
Showing you're on top of it.
They might ask you, what challenges do you see in making flight operations more environmentally friendly, and how would you tackle them?
Ah, a challenge question.
This is where you show that you can think strategically about long-term sustainability.
Okay.
Talk about potential roadblocks like costs, technology limitations, or people resisting change. Then outline your plan for overcoming those challenges. Show them you're not just aware of the problem, but actively thinking about solutions. All right, last question.
You covered a lot.
I know, right? But this one's important. It's about putting the customer first. Question number 9 is, how do you ensure that flight operations are customer-focused?
Ah, so even though you're behind the scenes, you still impact the passengers.
Exactly. And while the career guide doesn't specifically mention customer focus, it emphasizes communication and coordination, which are key to a good passenger experience.
It all ties together.
It does. Connect those skills to your answer. Talk about prioritizing on-time departures, minimizing delays, making sure connections go smoothly, and working with customer service to handle any passenger issues.
Sounds good.
It shows you're thinking about the people, not just the logistics. Be ready for a follow-up like, can you share a time when you went above and beyond for a passenger?
Time for another story.
You got it. Maybe you helped a passenger who missed their connection or went the extra mile to fix a baggage problem.
Showing your dedication.
Exactly. You're not just following procedures, you're truly committed to making travel a good experience for everyone.
Wow, we've covered so much already. But there's a lot more to it, right?
Oh yeah, tons more, especially as you move up in your career. Those interview questions, they get even tougher. Well, they really start digging into your decision-making skills, how you handle those crazy situations that pop up all the time in this job.
Yeah, gotta be able to think on your feet.
Exactly. Like this one, you'll probably hear this. Describe a time you had to make a difficult decision under pressure. How did you approach it?
Ooh, that's a classic.
It is, but it's not about knowing all the answers. It's about showing that you can stay calm, think clearly, and make the right call when things get chaotic.
Right.
So think of a specific example, maybe a sudden weather change that forced you to reroute a bunch of flights, or a technical issue that made you delay a departure.
Tough calls.
They are.
Yeah.
And the RoleCatcher Career Guide, it stresses the importance of critical thinking and making quick decisions.
Uh-huh.
This question is your chance to show them you can do that.
Okay, so how would you answer it?
Walk them through your decision-making process, step by step.
Okay.
What things did you consider? What information did you gather? How did you weigh the risks and benefits?
Makes sense.
And don't be afraid to talk about what was difficult, what you learned, even if it didn't turn out perfectly.
Oh, good point.
It shows you're self-aware
Uh-huh.
and that you're always trying to improve.
Mm.
Okay, let's shift gears for a sec. Let's talk about staying ahead of the curve.
Okay.
Aviation is constantly changing, right?
Ooh, yeah.
So they might ask you, how do you stay updated on the latest developments in aviation technology?
Good one.
This is where you can really show your passion for the industry. The RoleCatcher Guide suggests going to conferences, workshops, subscribing to journals, all that stuff.
Yeah, standard stuff.
It is. But to really wow them, go beyond the
Wow, I
basics.
like that. Give me an example.
Mention specific advancements you're following, like the next generation air transportation system,
Yeah.
next gen,
Ha, next gen. Yeah.
things changing everything. Air traffic management, satellite navigation, real-time data sharing. It's all in the guide. It shows you understand where things are heading in flight operations. You could also mention other new stuff like unmanned aircraft systems or using blockchain for cargo tracking.
Show them you're on the cutting edge.
Exactly. It proves you're eager to learn and adapt as technology changes. All right, ready for another one? This one's about people skills.
Hit me.
It's tell me about a time you had to deal with a difficult colleague or stakeholder. How did you handle it?
Oh, everyone's got those stories.
We do. Flight operations is all about teamwork, so you have to be able to handle different personalities and solve conflicts.
For sure.
Think of a specific time you had to work with someone challenging. Maybe a pilot who didn't agree with the schedule or a ground crew member who wasn't following safety rules.
It happens.
It does. What's important is showing that you can stay professional, listen, and find a solution that works for everyone.
Right.
Did you try to see their point of view? Did you communicate clearly and respectfully? Did you find a compromise?
Good points.
Remember, it's not about blaming anyone. It's about showing that you're a team player and a good communicator. And the RoleCatcher Guide. It emphasizes those qualities, collaboration and coordination. This question is a chance to show them you've got those skills. Okay, let's circle back to RoleCatcher's AI features for a minute.
Oh, yeah, the AI. So helpful.
We've talked about how it can help you polish your resume and practice your interview answers. But it can do even more.
Like what?
It can help you really understand what each job requires.
Oh.
One of the coolest things is that it can analyze job descriptions and tell you exactly what skills and qualifications they're looking for.
That's awesome.
It is. It's like having a secret decoder for job postings.
No kidding.
The AI can point out specific words and phrases you should use in your answers, so you know you're hitting the mark. No more guessing.
Smart.
It can even figure out the tone and style of the job description and help you adjust how you communicate.
Huh.
Yeah, like if they're all about being innovative and forward-thinking, you want your answers to reflect that.
Right, right.
It's not just about answering the question. It's about showing you understand the company and how you fit in. Okay, as we head into the last part of our deep dive, let's talk about career paths. What are the different directions you can go as a flight operations officer?
Good question.
The aviation industry has a lot of room for growth and specializing, and the RoleCatcher Guide lays out some of those paths.
Okay.
As you get more experience, you might go for a leadership role, like flight operations manager, or even director of flight operations.
Sounds like a lot of responsibility.
It is. You'd be in charge of a team, making strategic plans, managing budgets, all that.
Wow.
Or you could specialize in something specific within flight operations, like safety systems, regulatory compliance, or environmental sustainability.
Interesting.
Become an expert in your niche,
Okay.
maybe even a consultant. The key is to always be thinking about your skills, what you enjoy, and where you want to go in your career, and then go after those opportunities. Aviation is constantly changing. You got to be flexible, curious, and ready to learn new things.
Makes sense.
But no matter what path you choose, you need a solid foundation in the basics of flight operations.
That's what we're talking about here.
It is. This whole deep dive is about giving you the knowledge, skills, and insights you need to not just land the job, but really excel in this exciting and challenging career.
I like that.
Okay, so we've gone deep on those interview questions and how RoleCatcher can really help you nail them. But let's take a step back for a second. What are the big things that are going to shape the future of flight operations? And how will that impact the role?
That's the kind of question that really separates the folks just looking for a job from those who are thinking about a long-term career.
Right.
The world of aviation is changing so fast, and the people interviewing you, they want to know you're thinking ahead. One trend that's huge, and it's only getting bigger, is this focus on sustainability.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's not just about getting from point A to B anymore. It's about doing it in a way that's good for the planet. Passengers are way more aware of their carbon footprint these days, and airlines are definitely feeling the pressure to go green.
Exactly. And the RoleCatcher Career Guide, it actually talks about this growing need for people who know how to work with sustainable aviation fuel, SAF.
A SAF, right.
This isn't just a fancy term, it's a whole new set of skills that flight operations officers are going to need.
So if you're going for this job, you should be prepared to talk about how you'd use SAF in flight planning, how it affects how the plane performs, even how you'd encourage the whole industry to adopt it.
Exactly. You got to show them you're not just following the rules, you're actively pushing for aviation to be more sustainable.
I like that. Okay, so sustainability is a big one. What else?
Well, aside from pushing for a greener future, there's the whole technology side of things. It's changing everything.
Yeah,
And I'm not just talking about the AI that can help you prepare for this interview.
right. So what kind of tech are we talking about?
Everything. Real-time weather tracking, predicting when maintenance needs to happen. It's all run by data and algorithms.
Wow, it's a lot to keep up with.
It is. Remember that next-gen system we talked about earlier? That's just the beginning.
Hmm.
The career guide really emphasizes how important data analytics is becoming in flight operations. Think about systems that can predict delays before they even happen, or figure out the best flight paths to save fuel based on the wind.
That's amazing. So besides all the traditional skills, a flight operations officer needs to be good with data analysis, understand how to make different systems work together, maybe even know some coding.
Yeah, the role is definitely becoming more tech-heavy, but it's really important to remember that technology is just a tool. It can't replace human judgment.
Right. So interviewers are looking for someone who understands both, someone who's good with tech and also have that real-world aviation experience.
Exactly. To really impress them, you need to show them that you're not just a tech whiz. You get the complexities of aviation safety, regulations, the human factor, all of it.
It sounds like this is a pretty exciting time to get into this field. Lots of challenges, but also lots of opportunities. I bet the competition is tough, though.
Oh, it is. But that's where RoleCatcher can give you an edge.
How so?
Well, it has those AI-powered tools that can help you create a killer resume, refine your answers, and practice your interview skills. It can really help you stand out.
It's about using every advantage you've got to show them what you know and how passionate you are.
Exactly. And remember, aviation is a field where you never stop learning. Don't just prep for the interview and think you're done. Stay curious, keep up with what's happening in the industry, and always be looking for ways to learn and grow.
Great advice. So there you have it, everyone. We've done a deep dive into prepping for a flight operations officer interview, from tackling those tough questions to understanding the big changes happening in the industry. And we've explored how RoleCatcher can be your secret weapon in this process. It can really help you shine and show those interviewers that you're not just a candidate, but a future leader in aviation.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Whether you're just starting out or looking to take your career to the next level, remember, with hard work, preparation, and the right tools, you can reach your goals and really soar.
Best of luck in your aviation journey, everyone. Safe travels.